Welcome to the Stoked Bloke Show, peoples. I'm Barton Lynch, I am the Stoked Bloke, and today's show's coming to you courtesy of a New Earth project, and we have a very, very special guest. We're going to look back at Tahiti, the most recent event, the final event of the WSL's regular season. Then we're going to look forward to the 27th of August, when the world's best surfers, the top 5 final showdown takes place at Cloudbreak in Fiji. Our guest is one of the most respected surfers in the world and of all time. He's spoken about with the same reverence as the great Jerry Lopez when people refer and talk about Pipeline, which is, such a pedestal to sit on. He's a 2-time world champ, a 3-time father, has 3 beautiful girls, a great mate, Thomas Victor Carroll. Welcome to the Stoked Bloke Show, mate.
Gosh, so good to be here with you, BL. Crazy like a coconut. That's the best piece of art. That's an amazing piece of art. Look at that. Look at that.
It's a coconut, and my friend Angus made it for us. He was minding the house, and I came home and that was sitting there.
Nice work, Angus. Angus, yes.
How are you, Thomas? How's things in Australia? The middle of winter there. You've just come out of the surf, I hear.
Yeah, we've had a beautiful morning here this morning. We just had rain, non-stop rain for it's been the most rain on record in Sydney in August ever. And so it's just been very dreary, grey. But today we woke up, there was actually a sunrise for the first time in weeks. And it was offshore and had this northeast wind swell, northeast proper swell, around about 6 feet.
Yeah.
And how's this? I was meeting up with, trying to kind of coordinate with Richie Collins for a surf at North Narrabeen. Richie, who's in town for a while, shaping boards, and he's doing me a twin fin. So I'm frothing on getting that thing underneath my feet. But when I turned up at Narrabeen, he'd just come in, and he said it was too crowded for him, because Narrabeen guys, and girls, they're full on, and so as we know, but. I just got out there right at the right time before the wind came around to the south and it was opening up on the left. And BL, it doesn't get old.
Huh? Tell me, mate.
Far out. We might be getting old, but it doesn't get old, right? It's just that experience of getting barreled and changing direction in the barrel and just holding the line and seeing the line and coming through sections you never thought you'd come through. And I just, I never thought I'd get a barrel like that again. So I had that experience this morning, BL, so I feel incredibly blessed. And to be here with you, letting you know that there's light at the end of the tunnel. I know that you've been through some big ones this year. Yes. You're still sort of slowly coming through, but it's waiting for you. It's coming. It's coming.
I can't wait, mate. It's talking about getting tubed. Nowhere like Teahupo'o in French Polynesia to get tubed. We just watched the tow sessions before the event and those incredible historic rides into the event itself. How'd you find all of that?
Oh, how we can actually get it all so swiftly on first hand, how they're sending it so hard. I could see that swell lining up because I've been frothing, just surfing, just getting into it and seeing and watching how the storms. We get those storms. Indo gets the storm, we get the storm, then Tahiti gets the storm, right? So I could see that thing brewing on the other side, on the eastern side of New Zealand. I'm going, they're going to get smacked. And sure enough, she turns up with everything she's got. And the way they were sending it, Mate Drule just showing his knowledge and sense for crazy intensity, That's just a very powerful kind of, and a bunch of incredible tow. I know Jack towed a bit, and then you saw Griffin, talk about competitors in the event who were there. I think there was Ethan Ewing was hanging on the edges too. He was there.
Yeah.
But, Ethan's very adept and actually overcomes so much to put himself on the line. And, obviously, clearly was driven to kind of, I've got to get past this back, so, this experience in my body, pass through it, and he passed through it so easily. And well, I'm going to say, so that's sort of jumping to the gun there for him. But for his ability to start to shine beyond it, I think he's done an incredible job. But for those guys to set themselves up prior to the event and start proper sending it and hardcore, and just willing to just throw it all on the line and feel it, at that intensity. I mean, it's
incredible.
It's
because you had the excuse to lay low. You had the excuse to lay low and save your energy, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, yeah, like save myself, like everything, not just my energy, but my limbs and my equipment and all that sort of stuff. Not that they wouldn't be short on equipment, but it's like it's an extraordinary thing to see at that just love for that. I would have just tried, man. I feel their energy. I was going, oh man, that's big, solid, everyone's there, and there's a lot of support in those moments, when there's the event's about to come, there's a lot of support there. And, you're almost supported to kind of go for it if you've got that in your nature, If you haven't got that in the nature just to send it hard, you'd probably be sitting off going, okay, well, there's going to be another backup saw behind it, it's going to be waves, and we've got the event coming, and maybe we should serve some other breaks around. And but Jack and Griff put it on the line. Proper.
Hard to keep it. Yeah, proper, and hard to keep that level of performance through a swell alone. A few days of the swell, and then through a whole event. What incredible composure and control of their minds to handle that amount of pressure, especially Robbo. Can you believe what you see now? The surfing that we see, the ways that people ride. I never imagined it. I couldn't have imagined it.
Well, we were only just sort of discovering waves beyond like Hawaii and Indonesia. We were surfing some pretty amazing waves by the, in 92 was my first experience at Teahupo'o. And it felt like when I went there, my first surf was like my experience at Teahupo'o. We drove all the way we came across from Moorea on the ferry. No cameramen were allowed. It was with Mickey Nielsen and Titus Kinamaka, Ross Clark-Jones, Doug Silver, and we went all the way down around that sort of long road. And he says, it's called the end of the road. We drove for hours, and we got right down, got parked and went walking across the bridge and in front of these properties, and there was eels in the little streams and the perfume of the flowers, and there's rainbows and the mountains. The whole place is got this thing, right? Like mana, right? And I got out to the edge. You have to go out and the sand spit to have a look. And there it was, this sort of little bowl thing. I thought it's going to be a lineup. I'm going to see a full lineup, but no. I was going, what are you talking about? It's there. It's just this little, I thought, so we grabbed our boards, said, I'm going to give it a go. And we paddled all the way out. It took about 20 minutes or so. Got all the way out. There were no boats. And I thought, no one's going to come here. Like, what's the worry, Mickey? No one's going to come here and surf. It felt that remote. Tahiti's remote, and then you got remote Tahiti. So it was very remote and extraordinary to think what's going on in the world of surfing and how it's being approached. Because that wave, my first wave there was just like, I just didn't even see how it was going to come. I had to get up. I was like, whoa! Next minute I'm down. I just scrape off the bottom. I'm like, whoa, the thing bends out. It just blew my mind. I came out flying out of the wave that fast. Just got out over the right. And I'm like, it was, mind blowing. And the whole place was mind blowing. So to see them there, the best surfers in the world, the level of what they're doing, I get so psyched, like Kai Lenny and Tika, and the crew, the way they're sending it, and I'm sure Vatea David was there doing the work and supporting the whole group, and Poto, our contemporary. And so, and his son and all that group, the whole team, the feeling of being with that group too, and being in that part of the world, there's some very strong, they call it mana, what you like, chi, the energy within it, you can't not feel it. It's within us, and we match into it. And you can see where the feeling of being alive, what Matahe is going for and what Jack and Griff is going for, I get it. It's, you're feeling alive, and I can see how they would have picked energy up off it, if they were smart about how they were doing. I saw Griff go over the falls. I mean, he was lucky that one that Matahe Drole kind of towed into, right? And he just let go of his board, but then he went back over with it. That would have been hectic.
Super young kids out at Teahupo'o now, 7-year-olds and 12-year-olds getting starts in the event.
This element, BL, is just mind-blowing. This is the time in our life where kids are being exposed, and sometimes I go, oh, that's crazy, these kids are what's behind this? But I got no say. It's just amazing watching these kids express themselves and get a chance. Yeah. And you can see it in other sports like skateboarding and so on, where 13-year-old girls are doing extraordinary stuff, and they're winning world titles and things like this. So this is the new world, right? This is where it's going to. And Teahupo'o is an arena where it's quite controllable, it's a repetitive thing, and you can actually sort of push a kid into a couple of steep ones, if they get a few steep ones around the local reefs and they get an understanding for it. Once they get an understanding for it, they're at the most elastic time of their life, right? The brain's just sort of reconnecting, vibrant. So we're going to see. It's just obvious we're going to see a kind of evolution in the sport or art or whatever you like to call what we do at a rate we've never seen before. We're just seeing it right now. It's right before our eyes. And during Teahupo'o, when the world is focused on this, we've already had the Olympics there. I mean, it's just one of the most extraordinary developments. I would never have thought this would happen, So, and to see kids just sending it, and making it and coming out frothing, and the way we can design boards, the way we can build the equipment, build the intention, build the whole thing, and to see it all happening before our eyes, Bill, from where I come from, it's just another world completely, which is beautiful. I love seeing it. It's like, who knows what's next?
Yeah, exactly. And that was one of the chats that we had the other day was about this, and I think you put it as the resistance to change and progress. We were talking about the airs and how incredible we both thought what we were watching was as surfing performance, and how there was sort of an underlying almost negativity or dislike of the airs and that progressive type of surfing, and some people would just rather see a card that they've seen 100 times. That's right, and it's not like nothing's good or bad there. It's like it's just going on, right? And it's just a personal preference as to what people like to see. I think when it all comes together, and we're at kind of such a fast evolutionary pace, right? Where things, at first look a little bit ugly when we're pumping around just looking for a specific move on a wave, because of the personal preference is to get in the air. But the progression. It's not like it's happened overnight, right, BL? We were watching, Christian Fletcher and Martin Potter and these guys, all the Florida guys like Matt Keckley and all these guys doing airs 30 years, going way back. So it's not like, and we've always wanted to project ourselves. Even Larry Bertelman when we were kids. Yeah. And the carve has always been there. It's almost once we see, and it's just using the energy in the wave when you see someone do it in the most efficient way, there's a beauty in it, right? So,
and when it all links up, when someone starts doing it, and I remember watching Occy, his board would be out of the water, he'd be doing an air in his functional manoeuvre, and Tom Carroll doing the same thing. So we were watching it all unfold, but when it's done in the beauty of and it's done with the power source and linked into the power source in that particular way, and there's genius popping out, no wonder there's all these different ideas of it, which is great. See, Ethan Ewing doing his wonder, like Joel Parkinson did his wonder on the way, how this sort of presented. And so we're just in that sort of kind of push forward, the push back and all that sort of stuff that goes on with this evolutionary phase, which is rapid right now.
Yes.
Yeah. And so I love watching it.
Yeah.
And like I said, I don't, when I find myself resisting it, getting caught in it, it doesn't seem to, it just creates kind of more resistance for me. So I prefer not to resist and watch and actually bring it into what I'm doing, which I can't do it, but I've loved feeling the sensation of that weightlessness. And then no wonder we got that glint in our eye.
Like foiling.
Yeah, foiling. I love that glide. And it's just, and that's what it is, the glint in the eye, and everyone's got it. Everyone's got that glint. We want to dull it down by resisting. Anyway, that's my take on it.
Yeah, 100%. You want to be open and be able to appreciate it, because it's, I suppose in a lot of way, it's disturbing to people, because what percentage of the world can actually do what we see at that highest level?
Oh,
and 0.0 something,
Yeah, and understand the difficulty, the level of difficulty and expertise. When you see Yago hitting, when he was surfing those early rounds at J Bay, getting launched on the end section, you try and kind of get that right. Come out and with your hands in the air going, of course your hands are going to be in there. It's like, it's not even a claim, it's actually just an elation. So for me...
Exactly.
It's just what comes out as a result of sending yourself into the edge of existence and returning. Oh, back! It's brilliant. And we can see it and watch it live and froth. And that's what I love about this, what we're doing with water and a surfboard and all this stuff we get to do.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely, I feel the same way. Talk to us about Teahupo'o. Let's have a little, I'll read a couple of things that I noticed along the way. The heat that I loved in the early rounds was Al Cleland and Barron Mamiya.
Oh, yeah.
And Barron had priority, and he gave the priority away to block Al, and then Al got an 8-7 behind it and won the heat. That was a great... Al's got that spunk, that character, that personality, eh?
Yeah, he's
the glint
a one.
in the eye.
Yeah, that glint, and I really connect with Al, and always have. We've always had this sort of, since he was a young kid, and so this thing, and Barron himself knows only too well how things can shift on a dime. Being such an expert at places like pipe and choke, he's made for it. And so competing is a different story. And so you can see how things can turn on a dime. Just one little thing shifts, within a second, the whole thing's gone the other way. And that's the nature of, two waves and those places like Teahupo'o and pipe particularly. So it ain't over till the fat lady sings. And that,
Exactly.
you're going to be right on point. And Al Cleland knows how to do it. It's innately in every cell of his. Then he carries it.
Yeah, absolutely. Then going into the final five, Geordie had perhaps his best heat ever against the wild card, Teva Taroa, and the wild card got an 8-5 to start, first wave.
I know.
And he went, this don't look good for Geordie. Backed it up with a 3-5, And then what he just did his thing and dropped that 9.5 and just changed it so quickly. And I could see how much that meant to him. That was a monumental moment in his career, huh?
Oh, it brought a tear to my eye. Watching athletes produce their best when it's crucial, you know, like when someone actually, it comes out of them and nothing, you know, the kind of experience that he's had in life, to bring it purely to that moment and score a 9.5 right when it was counted. I was going, he's in the top 5, but buddy, you here now, like this is real. Like he's just willing to just throw it in there. And that's the best score he's ever had at Teahupo'o. And, you know, to see that happen, and I can't imagine that feeling going into that heat, going, oh my God, I've got this local guy, he's got all this, and I've got to do the best I've ever done, you know, and to walk into it and allow that to happen for himself. It was very emotional for me to watch that. It always is when I see people do that.
You the same when you watch people succeed, young people's dreams come true? You sit at home and like,
that's what brings tears to my eyes. Yeah, it really is a very, because I know I understand that moment. It's it's what brings tears to my eyes. Just spontaneously, I can't say, you know, like it's beautiful.
Yeah, me too. The other heat from those early rounds that I really liked was in the women's, and it was the quarter with Molly and Vahini.
Yes.
And Vahini's kind of the queen there, and she just played it safe, mate. She just got these little barrels, little cover-ups, and banked a couple small scores where Molly just threw herself over one after another, and just got smashed. But then at the end, she pulled it together, got the 9.77, and it was all over.
She literally had to get smashed a bit, Molly. You know, just to get herself into the zone. And I get that. Like she had to pay some dues a little bit, kind of get herself physically, kind of settled and into her go for it mode, because that's what she operates best under. She can only really operate at her finest when she's loose and free to just ascend it. And Molly's got the goods, like we can see clearly. But she had to bring that to it because she knew that Vaheen was so dangerous. Again, a local with all that local feeling and sensation of backing, you know, and she's in her home ground. It's like and Vaheen's so adept at that spot. But she came up against Molly Picklin, who was at this time in her life where there's no doubt, like she's allowed this position of no doubt. Like to do what she was doing, get pounded, come back. There's no doubt. Like she's not playing with any doubt. She's just going, I'm going. I'm just sending it. I'm going. And you could see it. And she lifted the bar so well. I'm so happy for the Pickles. You know, she's one thing I would definitely try to coach her in at some point, because every barrel where she's really cutting it fine, she's just under the lip, like, and she's actually aiming
on the low line.
She's under the low line. Just pull it up, baby, just a little bit more, and she's gonna be the Barra Mamiya of the women. Like if she just pulls it a little bit tighter, she's gonna be unstoppable. But at the moment, how's your neck? I'm feeling, because I just had neck surgery. Oh my God, I'm going, oh no, Molly. I feel it. But she's really, you know, she's cutting it beautifully fine. She knows where she's at, and she's got no doubt. And I think that no doubt thing, you know, is serving her right to where she needs to be right now.
Yeah, absolutely. She had the final against Katie, and in the final, Katie kind of did the same thing. She threw herself over, got flogged, but Pickles was just dominant in that final and really made it look quite easy. We'll look at those who's going to get to her in a minute. In the men's there, the Griffin Jalchianka was a sick heat. Both of those guys are incredible surfers, huh?
You know, like I said, I was talking about before, that little moment where you just got to put yourself underneath it at Teahupo'o and just be loose and free. Again, no doubt situation for both of those guys. They can, they're both, you could see the subtle differences, you know, even though there's so much experience in both of them, you know, the experience counted, and those days prior to the event counted really big at that moment between both of them, and for Griffin particularly, you know, in his position, you know, and he'd done the work, 100%. He'd placed himself in position so he could be a little softer and freer, you know, if you like that, you know, like, you know, so you can approach it.
He'd stretched it, hadn't he? He stretched it.
Stretch it out, and
so he could.
Yeah, for me, I was. That's where you need to be. You know, it's exactly why I wore a helmet at pipe, so I could just free it up. You know, I could free up this. You know, I don't want to be thinking about that. And so freedom, you know, and I think the work that Griffin's been doing too in the background, like for quite a while now, and the work that he does, I think that sort of just that once he feels the freedom, it's all bets are off. You know, you know, he's freely expressing himself right in that crucial moment.
Yeah, you know, again, the meditation and the lifestyle that you have embraced now at this point in your life, more so than ever before. Does that enable you to kind of get a feel for Robbo and a feel for Griff and how they're tuning themselves for those moments through that same sort of lifestyle, right?
Yeah, well, think about how much refinement's going on in the world of our art, surfing, sport, whatever you like. You know, this activity that we, you know, we're working with nature, and it's our nature with nature. We are nature. So these guys, if you're an athlete or any performer or anyone who are trying to find that or work in that that ultra refined act of what you're doing, and to sort of actually express fully. You know, all the preparation must include something which sort of moves, you know, allows that to happen. And I remember, you know, I reflect on our careers and what I was going through at the time, you know, particularly on that day when you won the world title that day. If I had had the practices, I you know, hindsight, not a great thing, but but I can see back that I was very, very shaken up internally. I wasn't ready for it, and hence it didn't go my way. And so, but when I look at for an athlete, an athlete who we were at the cutting edge, right? And so, and I was way too wound up, you know. I didn't. I was, you know, and so when I reflect on these guys, have now got this opportunity to work at this level where you're not only fired up, you're actually calm deep down. You know, you've got this. I'm aware of the situation. I'm aware of, and the awareness is much more. It's a refined act, you know, and that's what we need to be today to work at this level. If someone's not working in that field and working with themselves in that field, and they're right at the cutting edge, and they're not doing this sort of work, it won't be as available to them, you know, their highest level 100%. And tapped into nature. Yeah.
Because you're most probably unbalanced.
Well, you just easily sort of
mental balance.
Yeah, you're just a little bit more easy. It doesn't mean you're not going to maybe sit into what they call flow now, flow state. You know, they call it flow state.
Yeah.
But it's and it's a very regularly used word. But it's just you know, intuitively sitting in that space where optimum performance can arise. If you know, we can do that without it, but it's not as probably available. Does that make sense? It's just not as available.
Yeah,
we can
fulfilling and there's that recognition of your surrender in those moments where really the natural thing is to try and control it all and own it all and manage it all and make sure it's all perfect and right. But I suppose both you and I have learned through our lives that I remember you saying to me, it's all about the surrender, you know?
Yeah, and watch what happens. And you can see what happens with these guys. And it sort of come to fruition throughout this recent event. And who knows what's coming up. But particularly at Teahupo'o, you could see...
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, who rose to the top. And in the most crazy arena of surfing. So, yeah, let's talk about what's coming up. Yeah.
Yeah, what's coming up? A couple things that I thought we talked about Geordie, and I feel like Geordie's going off that Teahupo'o heat and that energy that we felt for him in that moment of self-pride, really like, fuck, I did it. About time. And there's no better time for him to have that feeling of he going into this next event like that. The complete opposite for me was Iago against Mihimana, Bry, and it was towards the back end. It was a disastrous heat, right? It was at the back end of the heat, and Mihimana's looking for a 1.73. And he gets a wave, but he doesn't get around it, doesn't get the 1.73. And Iago gets the priority. And Iago, with that priority and the, seconds left, I'm like, just take off, mate. Just take off. It's 10 seconds, whatever it was, like no time left. And he didn't take off. For some reason, didn't use his priority. And Mihimana took off and won the heat and knocked him out. And in my mind, I went, is that a ghost that's going to come back and haunt you when you've got one heat, kind of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You've waited for everyone to get
Yeah.
That's an enormous amount of pressure, and I wondered the impact of that negative loss at Teahupo'o for Iago, you know?
Well, it's going to be super interesting. Psychologically speaking, the preparation for those two waves that Iago has, all he needs is two waves. The preparation is big, right? So, and he's if he's watching anyone coming through, any one of those vibrant souls who are sitting, those other four, who have got all the potential in the world, to sit and to watch that, and then knowing that, and the same was, when I watched, when we go back to decisions that could have gone the other way, watch the final of the women's at J Bay when Molly didn't get that wave, and so, against Gabby. So I thought, wow, that's an interesting move, and it's sort of like the move that I would have done back in the day. Oh, no, I thought. And so I just fully get it. And then Mihimana one, like he just thought, no, I'm just going to stick with it, Now I've got, I don't know what went on in his head, but it's so like on the spare of on that moment, that there's big decisions, right, that we don't even know we're making, tipping points. Yeah. And so Mihimana really took full advantage of that. And if Iago, it's almost like he's got to pick himself back up into this yellow jersey, and he's done the work. There's no doubt about it. And
you kind of got to believe in that sense that everything happens for a reason, and you were meant to have that down a moment to make you understand and realise the importance of every moment, or something. You try to find the positive and the negative.
Well, sharpen. Yeah. I think sharpen and also again surrender. It's like the combination, surrender to win. It's like surrender each moment. It's got an opportunity for that. And so, and just free surfing, freeing up, free surfing, freeing up, free surfing, working on things that you feel you can sort of, keep coming back to the act and refining. And of course, leaving energy, it's a chance for him to get closer to his own, how he uses his energy. And so let's see what happens there. It's a really, really interesting time coming up for the finals. That's what I know. Yeah, it's super interesting.
It sure is. So we'll send a big congratulations out to Robbo and Griff and Katie and Molly for that incredible performance over there. Let's look forward now to the final five. One day, one event, one day, everything's, you start at scratch again. And in the women, it's Betty Lou versus Caroline Marks in that fourth and fifth surf-off.
Wow. Like, the funny thing is, Caroline, even though she'll be, it'll be kind of, it feels like it might favour her on the forehand and so on. And that she, but I haven't seen Caroline really be Caroline this year. It's like, you know what I mean? She hasn't really been Caroline, and that I've seen in previous years. So the judges might even be a bit harsh on her for that at a subtle level. And I think Betty Lou's got the momentum. I think Betty Lou has this fresh momentum. She's definitely looking stronger. She's improved her surfing. She's on that sort of trajectory. It's going to be a super interesting start. And so, it's a really interesting first heat. And I think, but that's my feeling at the moment. Just after watching it all and watching how things unfold.
Well. I feel the same way. Betty Lou has got sharper, faster. There's obvious improvement in her performance. You can see, and she deserves to be where she is. Where Caroline, obviously deserves to be where she is, but at the same time, the performances, I haven't felt as much. It hasn't felt like it's. I suppose after winning the Olympics and all of those things, it's a bit of a roller coaster.
It's a natural
career.
Dip. But she's got it.
Yeah.
She's got the goods.
About the goofy. Yeah.
She's sure got the
Louis
goods.
in the corner, and he's had a lot of time there.
Yeah, he knows what to do there.
What about the goofy regular thing? That's what I wonder. Like at Teahupo'o, the goofies couldn't get deep enough. Carly Vars and Vahine, two best surfers there, really couldn't get deep enough on the forehand. They couldn't slow it down enough and make it critical enough on the forehand. Obviously, Cloudbreak's a little different to that, but I still feel like for the women, there's an advantage on your forehand in this event because there's only one of them, a goofy footer.
Yes.
Caroline's the only goofy. So the winner of Betty Lou and Caroline comes up against Caitlin. So that's an interesting one, and she's in a pretty good place there at third. Then the winner of Caitlin and whoever is Gabriella Bryan, and then the winner of that goes up against Molly. So there's a lot of places that can go, really, isn't there?
Yeah. There's a lot of vibrance in there. I mean, I know that I got a feeling that Katie would dearly like to kind of, come up against Molly again. If there's any part of that sort of that hidden part we don't really get to see of Katie, don't really that driving force that we don't really get to see. We see this sort of pretty cool cat, like beautiful exterior, like beautiful like expression. I love seeing what she's about or hearing what she's about to say, and she just says it. She's an open-hearted soul, but something's going on underneath Katie, right? To get to where she's got and to actually understand and get the barrels and send it where she sends it. Pipeline, that crazy trip she went on where she got barreled with, with Sol Bailey, that sort of crazy. Wow, she really, showed some real expertise in the barrel, and so backside she's really felt it at Teahupo'o. She came up really tight and high, and that's the place where you need to be if you're going to get barreled at Cloudbreak. You need to kind of, work the barrel. You need to be able to pump and work the barrel inside. I think Katie's got a lot of that in her, and she's got the grace and feel for a wave and to light it up on such a wave as Cloudbreak. I think. This is my feeling at this point between all
with
of
these
girls.
With that bit of space, eh?
Yeah, and if she gets a chance, I think if I sense Katie at the deeper level, she's got that "I'm coming for you, Molly."
Yep.
And I think that's my feeling.
Yes.
And be it what it is, But I sense that she's probably got the most, Gabby's definitely solid. She's amazing. She's never been in the 5. She's never had this experience. And who knows what she's got. She's a real wild card. Mm.
Yeah, that's right.
Mm.
But so if you had to pick a winner out of that 5?
I'd still have to go for Molly. Because Molly, she's been going so hard, and she's so well poised. I can sense that she's very strong within herself now. She has a different posture after Teahupo'o. She would just walk into this event here I am. Okay, I've got 2 ways to do. That's it.
Yeah.
And,
I'm with you. I go this way. I could see a Katie Molly final and Molly taking the victory. Over to the men's 4th and 5th surf off is a beauty. Italo and Robbo.
Italo is the crazy wild card out of the whole lot of these guys, right? And someone who'd have the energy to pour it into Iago in the final, right? Italo would have that, right? And have this surprise. He's got some sort of, but he's also got that thing where he completely blow it. And I think that, energy override he probably doesn't have the same command that Jack does. And you can see that this to come from this position will have to have a lot of command over, your mental state. And so, but if Italo comes along with a charge and takes Jack, watch out. Because for me, if there's one person who can bring that energy to Iago in the final, right? He could come flying from the back, Italo. That's just something I feel. And but if Jack gets a roll too, Jack will just sort of stealthily come through. Geordie is very unknown in the top 5. He's an unknown character, in the top 5. Griff, you just let him any chance here, and Griff will light up. But I'm sort of taking it all into account, BL. And I'm trying to describe what I've seen and sort of feel it. And what's your take on it?
Yeah. I think Italo's lesson from last year in the final 5, where he came from 5th all the way, but fell short because the energy tapered off. You can't go at it like that. He went at it last year. He was backflipping, smashing Red Bulls, and that energy every heat. There needs to be, which Robbo and Griff and those guys have. They have a quieter disposition, and I feel like in those pressure situations when you got to come from 5th, you need to be pacing that. One heat at a time, as they say, but you can't be putting the energy out elsewhere. It needs to be considered, and you need to hold on to that shit for the final. And that's if Italo learns anything from last year, I would think that'd be it.
Yeah. So I'm hearing you loud and clear.
Italo and Robbo goes against. Oh, sorry, mate.
Oh, no. I was just going to say it. I'm hearing you loud and clear. I think it's, like I said a moment ago about Jack and Griff's ability to, be consistent with their practices that actually help them refine to those real pressure moments. And I think that's going to be really amazing to watch how this all plays out because of those elements. And I don't know what Geordie does. I don't know how he sort of plays his game in the background.
Yeah.
And all's going to be different on this top 5 these final 5 because totally different environment to Trestles. You've got the islands, you've got the different places everyone stays. We're all in the same place, but we're all on boats. It's a different sensation of timing your heats and watching and how this plays out and how the swell hits the reef. Totally different environment. and I really do pray for good waves.
Yeah.
But knowing Fiji, knowing Cloudbreak, it has a way of turning up very tricky on the wave selection. So, and actually scoring potential.
Yeah.
It's not like Teahupo'o.
Yeah.
It's a different scenario, and it's particularly quite different.
Yeah,
than
it's a
trestles.
much different wave, isn't it? Yeah.
So
Where
watching how
one's
this
just
goes.
turns, the other's just tube.
Yeah.
This one's a bit of both, right?
Yeah, it's got all this stuff, and it's up the line, and then it's down the line, and so hence someone depending on what Italo's doing, it's like, and how he's doing, and how he's but if things start to fall in his lap, and he actually takes the bull by the horns and stays. Has which he hasn't really shown. He's had a crazy year. You think about the year he's had. It's like, it's amazing that he's in the top 5. So it's an interesting one.
Yeah. And
Both
he's
of
such
those.
you need him in the show, don't you? You need him in the show. There's got to be a character like him that just light everything up.
Yeah, so another one we get...
out of the men, Italo...
Go on,
I'm
sorry.
going to put you on the spot.
Yeah,
Italo,
okay.
Robbo, Griff, Geordie or Iago? Who do you pick?
Yeah, it's funny, there's so many things tearing me apart here, because I love to see Geordie win a world title. It brings me to tears,
Yeah.
20 years on the tour and all this experience and all this incredible year. My energy's for Geordie, I'd love to see him put it to Iago in that final and put into 3 sets, 3 sets. This is what I'd love to see happen. But
Yeah.
I'd still see that it's going to be hard to beat Iago. It's really...
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to beat Iago in 2 waves, and have that rest. I could see a... I can see a Jack and Iago final. That, that's a pretty wild call, but I can see a Jack and Iago final.
Jack and Iago. That's a good one, mate. And Robbo's got the ability to stay composed, stay focused. He proved that at Teahupo'o when he had to win. That was a phenomenal victory under the pressure of having to win to make the final 5, and he was just calm as a cucumber. It seemed like there's a lot to love about Jack, isn't there? Yeah,
and so it's still such an incredible lineup, isn't it? This year has really shown up for the men, and really thrown them in the mix, and for Jack to kind of make it to the top 5 is just miraculous. So the run has been phenomenal. As much as I just love to see Griff and and the expression of Italo, it's just what a fiery bunch we have. And
just a sort of bigger picture question, I find that I've really enjoyed the tour this year. And there were a few years there where I wasn't really feeling it, and I wasn't really enjoying it, and I wasn't sure if it was just my disposition and dislike for the changes that were made, and the disrespect for pipe and all of that. But how do you feel this year's stacked up, and have you enjoyed it?
Oh, this year's really, you could feel the shift early on when there was the decision made. As soon as there was a decision made, we're going to go back to end up at pipe, it was almost like a sigh of relief that, okay, now we've done that experiment. We've run the experiment, and there was some fall guys in that experiment. Whenever they bring in a new rule, and it's quite challenging, there's always, a fall, someone falls for it, and then oh, well, that wasn't such a good idea. We better go start moving on from that, and we'll scrap that. And so, unfortunately, Carissa Moore was pretty much the one that's kind of showed it for what it was. It was a risky move, and I think any kind of, I think it was a good move, because I know Carissa paid the price, but I think it was really important for us we need to actually keep trying new things with competition surfing. It's not like we shouldn't stop doing this. I was like, going for it and taking a risk with formats and stuff. For myself, remember that experience at Pipe where you won, that day where you won, was that whole year we had to surf under that interference rule, that ruling where the judges were let off the hook, basically, because they could deem, if you had second priority, you could be on the same swell way down the other side of the beach. So if you just moved your hand off the rail to paddle, to move for the wave, and the other person had priority and they took the wave, interference. That was a technical interference, which got me at Pipe that day in the Billabong Pro with Todd Holland, who I just went for a little move to have a look, because I'm looking at every single opportunity, and I'd spin around and he'd gone. He had priority. He's just sitting way, he's about 3 or 4 meters away from me, out off me, and I was just inside looking for that wave underneath priority, and he knew. He was smart, and he knew away, because he was, and so and I was only two heats away. So 6 hours later, they decide we're not going to use that rule anymore. That was the last. There was that general meeting at the end of the tour they used to have up the Kuilima. Oh, well, I don't think that rule's any good. Didn't work. So, but something happens like this. This is how evolution happens, right? We go up and down, up and down, up and down. I think it's a great evolution. Everyone felt that evolutionary move, and the whole tour went, yes, and all the fans, everyone went for it. And I think that's and indicative, that collective surge. You could see it in Burleigh, in the event at Burleigh. Like the feeling in that event was powerful, and the surfers that ended up in the final, and you had Julian Wilson, who was coming out of nowhere, literally, to be in the final. Kind of, it was almost like a whole new Julian Wilson. And then you had this extraordinary performances from Philippe and Julian, which were mind-boggling, almost like set the pace for the year. Not only was, it was kind of a wacko one, because we had someone looked like Italo was on a tear, right? Anyway, we can go and talk about Italo later, but I think the whole thing was, the whole tour was on a surge. WSL was on a surge, and then all kinds of really cool stuff started to unfold throughout the year, which drew us to it. Some of the performances that started to kind of present, and these kind of heroic performances, like Conor O'Leary, and many, many others. Isabella Nichols and Conor O'Leary at J-Bay, and all the other things that went on throughout the year, powerful. Gabriella Brighton, she started that crazy run, and started to sort of pin everyone to the wall. Got the yellow jersey. Nah, you're not going to have it until Molly. I think all these really cool things, started to sort of play out for both sides, and just beautiful, just and a very exciting competitive end to the year coming up. But WSL really, it kind of got my attention big time, and I must admit, BL, I liked kind of watching what was going on with the Final Five format, but because it gave us a new version of what was going on, and I wouldn't say it's fair, but it's just, it was kind of, we need some fresh kind of ideas popping, and I think that was good.
Yeah, different thing, right? Yeah, exactly. So we've picked our winners. We both felt that Molly had what it takes to continue on this year and win the world title. On the men's side, peoples, we're both pretty confused. Thomas feels like Yago has got what it takes to win, get those two waves and win. I saw on Instagram today he arrived and got a sick barrel there and building his feel for it. Geordie Smith, I saw one on the gram. Did you see that the other day?
I missed it.
Blowing the tail out of the top of waves back to back. And I feel like somewhere in the natural footer's approach, if they can pump and drive in that tube and make those sections, which is maybe where the only advantage is to the goofy out there, because those turns on the backhand, if you can get them up tight and ride that tube, I feel like there's some advantage there. And I'm like you, I'm a romantic. I'd love to see Geordie get it.
Yeah, I might, if my heart, is with Geordie in many ways. But I can see, if I don't know whether you saw, there was a Red Bull did a little presentation of their athletes, and they did a post on Jack, and there's a sequence of Jack riding a wave in that post, right, where, talk about like dynamic feel, like that Jack has. Right. He literally did a bottom turn. He's not looking. He's sort of tucking down. It's super late. He's like really delayed it, and tucked as the lip went under him. He's not looking anywhere. It's all pure feel, and he's tucked down so low to the board as he's bottom and tucks up under, and then he goes up high, and he tucks and keeps that tuck, and then he goes down and does a turn in the barrel backside and comes out. I mean, it's it's a great sequence. If you can see it, you'll see what the surfers of that top five are up for with Jack. I mean, if he gets a grip on this thing, watch out. And I think there's a lot of trickiness coming up with all the surfers and how it all plays out with that first priority, but going to each the highest seed as they go in, and particularly for Yago at the end, having, even if he loses the first one, he still has priority in the second one, first priority, and even the third one he'll still have first priority. So it's really tough to beat Yago.
And that's a big advantage, getting that priority, isn't it? Just based on, well, you finished ahead of someone, so it seems like a fair reward to put into those.
Yeah. And depending on if it's one of those clean swells where there's lines of, 15, 16 second periods, you can, as your first priority, you got to have nerve, right? You got to have the nerve, the nerve. And then we're talking about nerve, and we think about nerve, you look at the nerve it took, Griff and Jack to surf macking out, Chopu, to have that nerve to do that, and it kind of gave them better composition physically. The physiology was sort of more open to kind of making better decisions in the event, because none of those ways in the event would have felt a challenge to them, other than that they actually just they frothing to win.
Yeah, me too, mate. I think it's going to be fantastic. Thank you so much for joining me on the show, mate. We'll have to get you back, and there's just so many different things we could talk about.
Yeah. I mean, we could go on, BL, you and I. We could, and it's like that.
We could go on.
It's like that thing where I'm definitely going back into the ground.
Yes.
That whole thing.
I'm getting shorter already.
I'm getting shorter. It's like it probably helping me in the barrel today. Just as long as I can move, it's keeping the movement up.
Yeah.
We've got to keep that up, BL.
Oh, I love it, mate. Love you, Thomas. Thank you for everything you've, inspired me throughout the years, mate, and inspired surfers all round.
Oh, my pleasure, BL.
You're a great piece of work, mate.
It's a reciprocal thing, We can now really, really share it. Whereas when we were competing, it was just like that. So it's really good to be in this phase of our life together.
And we know that from our experiences, that it's an enormously kind of stressful and emotional, and it's just such a roller coaster of a ride that these kids are going through, and they're only kids. But I think both of us would have to say that we're for me anyway, I'm so incredibly impressed by the maturity, the sensibility, the journeys into themselves and seeing the results coming out of that. It's an incredible thing.
And the willingness for them to share it, I think that's the real cool thing. Like, and their ability to kind of pull in support networks. I mean, back in the day, I come from a time when you're discarded if you looked for support. Like it was like literally, what do you mean? Like, get over it. Like, like I was like, get over it. What are you talking about? Sometimes that's the kind of sometimes that might be necessary, but constantly in every aspect of your life doesn't work. It just doesn't work. We need that support, and these guys have got great support networks.
You need to be able to enjoy the success of others around you, even if you don't necessarily like those succeeding. Say, for example, that was one of my great lessons within myself, was when you lose, there was nothing better than watching you lose.
Yeah. God, I just want that guy to just, I'm so glad that he lost.
And then you realise that that's not necessarily good for anyone, and especially yourself. And when you can grow over taking joy out of other people's failure, then you're able to kind of flourish and enjoy success a little more yourself, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely. You nailed it, BL. Yeah.
All right, Thomas. Love you, mate. We'll keep in touch. We'll talk soon. Thank you, everybody out there, for watching the show. We love you.
Thank you.
We'll see you next episode.
DPL.